one of my newest Rebel colleagues, quickly becoming one of my favorites, Drea Humphrey. You know what? This is how I know if the other guys watch my show. So I'll at least know they're watching my work. Drea, I'm glad to have you on the show. This is the first time you've been on my show. I know you've been on David's show, Rebel Roundup, a little bit. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I guess it's kind of the obvious. You're a Black woman. You're a Black woman who's conservative, and you are very critical of BLM. How did you end up being critical of this movement that says Black Lives Matter? And so I guess everyone must support it.
Well, I'm glad you called me Black because Joe Biden sure as heck wouldn't. I think it just came down to how I was raised, and I was raised to treat people as equals, and that's how I've always wanted to be treated. So as soon as I see any group, doesn't matter what it is, that's, in my opinion, actually telling Black people that they can't achieve as much things, or that you're sort of limited, or you're in some kind of box simply because of the color of your skin. That's not really something that was resonating with me nicely. And then the more that I looked into the organization, the more I looked into what the leaders were saying, I found a lot of what some of the leaders were saying as racist. And I know that they seem to not acknowledge that you can be racist against white people, but saying things like, prevent me, or Lord help me not to kill white people. I mean, quote unquote, it's not exactly the same way, but basically, I mean, that's not something that I'm for. I love people of all skin tones. And so to have the leaders, the founders speaking like this, and then, then I learned that they're self-proclaimed Marxists. And I'm like, whoa, that's totally not what I stand for. So, the more that I just really looked into it, and I wish other people would really look into it, I realized, number one, they're not talking about what seems like the primary concerns as far as the most immediate threat to, if we take it to the Floyd situation, to Black Americans. If we start there and we look there, they're not addressing Black on Black crime. They're not addressing the family life. They're not acknowledging that there was some changes with the Second Act when Trump signed that helped actually, keep people back in their homes, take them out of the prisons for a long time. So it's just such a mess. And even when I look at the Canadian Black Lives Matter and they want to abolish the police, I mean, none of these things I stand for. So yeah, I don't stand for Black Lives Matter.
It's funny because these people who support Black Lives Matter, and it's so often a bunch of virtue signaling upper middle class white kids with the Black Instagram posts, and they're advocating for fewer cops in Black and marginal communities. And that's how gangs overtake Black communities. But they don't have to deal with those bad policy ideas because they're living in a fancy neighborhood somewhere else, and they've never been touched by the problems plaguing minority communities, especially in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw any of the videos on Twitter and stuff of a lot of white people in the name of Black Lives Matter going to Black areas and vandalizing the areas and wrecking the businesses, the Black-owned businesses in the areas in the name of Black Lives Matter. So I don't know what's going on. I've got a video coming up where today I'm Black and Indigenous, and I was booted off of a public park for not, I don't know. You guys will have to wait and see, but basically by Indigenous people. So I'm starting to feel like it's less about the color of your skin and more about if you agree with the left or not. I'm starting to really see that that's kind of what it is for a lot of the things happening right now in general.
Yeah, it truly is about politics because it's about progressive politics and Marxism and the abolishment of the family. We saw just a couple of days ago some white and I think African or Black, and I mean, they're just pro-life activists is what they were. Let's not even put a label on what they were.
Exactly.
They were pro-life activists. They went to a Planned Parenthood because they tend to plunk these things in minority neighborhoods because I guess the left thinks it's better off not to be born at all than to be born poor. And they painted on the ground, Black baby lives matter. And those pro-life activists were arrested. And all they're saying is Black babies deserve to be born too. And they're taken away in handcuffs. Yet you can vandalize everything with BLM, hashtag BLM, spray painted on somebody's property, loot their stores, and you're free. They don't arrest you.
Exactly. And I hate to use Kanye West as an example, but I mean he's everywhere right now. But you know, they're really attacking him for getting emotional about how his daughter was almost aborted and how that resonates with him and he's really sad about it. And they're just making him sound like that's a crazy statement. And whether you're pro-life or not, I think you should be able to comprehend the fact that he has a daughter that wouldn't be here, and you know that's emotional for him. I don't see why that's crazy there. So, you know, there's just nothing illogical right now about the far left. I can't connect the dots. So help me God.
If you'd like to get access to my show, as well as other great TV style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly Ezra Levant Show and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.